They told you God was watching, not just your actions, but your thoughts. Like your mind was a courtroom and you were guilty by default. And you carried that fear into adulthood, even if you stopped going to church, even if you call yourself logical now. Because the point was never God. The point was control. Fear-based faith doesn't make you holy. It makes you manageable. It trains you to police yourself. It installs an invisible supervisor inside your head. So even when nobody is around, you still feel observed. You still hesitate. You still apologize for desires you didn't choose. You still call natural impulses temptation, as if being human is a defect. Here's the uncomfortable twist. What if the universe isn't watching at all? Not because life is meaningless in a corny, depressed way, but because reality doesn't run on human emotions. The cosmos doesn't reward you for being good. It doesn't punish you for being bad. It doesn't pause to applaud your effort or condemn your mistakes. Things happen. Causes produce effects. That's it. And for a lot of men, that idea feels like falling. Because fear-based faith at least gave you a structure. Someone is keeping score. Someone is in charge. Someone will make it fair. Someone will eventually say, "You tried. Here's your reward." But if there's no watcher, then your life is yours. Fully, brutally, finally. No cosmic manager. No spiritual HR department. No scoreboard. Just consequences. Spinoza said something that still makes people uncomfortable. God isn't a person. God isn't a judge. God is not out there. God is nature, existence, the one substance expressing itself through everything. If you accept that, then you're not trying to impress a ruler in the sky. You're trying to understand what you are inside the system you're already in. Now let me ask you something that people avoid because it burns. If the universe doesn't care about your excuses, why do you keep living like you need permission? And if there's no cosmic referee, who are you performing for? Most men are not scared of God. They're scared of being alone with responsibility. Because once you remove the watcher, the entire structure collapses. Guilt is guidance, shame is morality, fear is discipline. You realize how much of your goodness was anxiety dressed up as virtue. You weren't being moral. You were being cautious. You weren't being pure. You were being afraid. And that's where nihilism can actually become medicine. If the universe has no opinion about you, you're free to stop begging for approval. No divine approval. No social approval. No approval from your parents' expectations, from your past, from strangers online, from that imaginary version of yourself who should have been further by now. But freedom feels like emptiness at first. Because the old system gave you meaning by force. It told you what to be, what to want, what to fear. When that goes away, the silence arrives. And men hate silence. Silence exposes the truth. You don't need more signs, you need more clarity. You don't need more belief, you need less self-deception. Spinoza didn't preach comfort. He wasn't selling salvation. He was saying, you are part of reality, not separate from it. Your thoughts, your pain, your instincts, your body, your contradictions. They are not spiritual failures. They're expressions of the same nature that produces storms and galaxies. That doesn't make you special. It makes you real. And being real is scarier than being saved, because real means you can't hide behind a story anymore. This is where many people panic and sprint back to certainty. They don't want truth. They want a script. They want someone to tell them the rules so they can stop thinking. But the cost of that comfort is your adulthood. It turns you into a man who obeys, not a man who understands. So the question becomes, if your life is not being judged, why are you still living as if you're on trial? And who taught you that your nature was something to apologize for? Let's go deeper. The modern version of God is watching is different now. It's not angels, it's algorithms. You live like you're being observed anyway. Your phone is the new altar. Your feed is the new confession booth. Your identity is something you maintain, you perform, you curate, you hide, you crave reaction. You don't even notice how often your choices are shaped by an invisible audience. So even if you escape religion, you might still be living under surveillance, just with different gods. And these new gods are worse, because they update every day. The rules change, the standards shift. What gets rewarded today gets ignored tomorrow. It's a system designed to keep you chasing. Spinoza threatens every structure built on dependence. Because if God is nature, nobody gets to claim they own access to the divine. No priest, no influencer, no ideology, no guru, no authority selling you a ladder out of your own life. And nihilism adds the blade. If the universe doesn't care, there is no external validation coming, no final applause, no guaranteed fairness, no one day they'll understand. That's painful. It means you don't get to delay your life waiting for a moment that makes everything make sense. But it's also power, because it forces you to build meaning like a man, not like a child waiting for a parent to approve. Meaning becomes something you craft through what you commit to, what you endure, what you stop running from, and what you choose to sacrifice. Not because it's written in a book, but because you can trace the logic of your life through your actions. Not because it's written in a book, but because it's written in a book, but because you can trace the logic of your life through your actions. Here's a tough truth. The universe doesn't owe you meaning, but you owe yourself coherence. You owe yourself a life where your decisions match your values, where your habits match your goals, where your mouth isn't saying one thing while your calendar shows another. So here's a question that will separate men in the comments. Do you want the universe to have meaning, or do you want your life to have meaning? And another one, if nobody could ever see what you do, would you still do the right work? Now, about suffering. People love to romanticize it. It's part of the plan. God is testing you. That story can be comforting, but it can also keep you passive. It teaches you to accept pain without understanding it. It can turn you into someone who confuses endurance with wisdom. Spinoza would say, your suffering isn't a punishment. It's often a mismatch between how you think reality works and how it actually works. It's ignorance of causes. You get pulled by cravings, fears, conditioning, trauma, ego. You react, then you call it fate. And the modern world makes it worse because it sells you constant anesthesia. You can avoid discomfort forever. Scroll, snack, consume, numb. So you never learn what moves you. You never map your own patterns. You just repeat them and call it personality. Spinoza's version of freedom is not do whatever you want. It's understand what moves you, so you stop being dragged. That's why he's dangerous. He pulls you out of the victim story without being cruel. He doesn't shame you. He just tells you the truth. If you don't understand yourself, you'll be controlled by forces you mistake for who you are. And nihilism becomes clean here. No one is coming to save you. Not because life is cruel, but because reality doesn't outsource your responsibility. If you want peace, you build it. If you want strength, you train it. If you want stability, you structure it. So if you're anxious, don't pray for it to disappear. Learn what feeds it. If you keep choosing the same wrong people, don't call it bad luck. Learn the pattern. If you feel empty, don't distract yourself. Ask what you're avoiding. You don't need salvation. You need precision. You need to stop moralizing your pain and start understanding it. Here's the common question that hits hard. What's one belief you inherited about God or life that quietly made you weaker? So let's land this. If God is not a watcher, but existence itself, then you're not a sinner under surveillance. You're a part of nature with awareness, a temporary lens reality uses to experience itself. That's not a compliment, it's a responsibility. And if nihilism is right, and the universe doesn't care, then your life becomes more valuable, not less, because it's not guaranteed. It's not supervised, it's not scripted, it's yours. And it's happening only once in this exact form, with this exact window of time. That means you don't get to waste years performing. You don't get to live for approval and call it faith. You don't get to call fear morality forever. At some point, you either grow up or you keep repeating the same comfort loops until your life becomes small. Here's the harsh beauty. If there's no watcher, you can stop trying to look good and start trying to be real. You stop confessing and you start correcting. You stop begging for signs and you start creating structure, habits, standards, discipline, truth. And maybe the real awakening isn't you or divine. Maybe that's too poetic. Maybe the real awakening is simpler and more brutal. You are not separate from reality, and therefore, you can't keep living like your life is a rehearsal. You don't need perfect answers about God to live with integrity. You need a life that makes sense when you look at it. You need to be able to respect yourself in silence. You need to stop outsourcing your conscience to systems that profit from your confusion. Final questions and don't dodge them. If you truly believe there is no watcher, no scoreboard, no cosmic judge, what would you stop doing immediately? What would you finally start? And who would you become if you stopped living like you're being observed?